We thought the stars were empty. We spent centuries listening for a whisper. We heard only the crackle of radiation. We heard the slow hum of dying suns. Our probes drifted through silent systems. They found gas giants and frozen rocks. They found nothing that looked back. So we turned our gaze inward. We solved our own small problems. We built worlds on moons and asteroids. The great dark expanse was just a backdrop. A beautiful, harmless, and empty stage. We were catastrophically wrong. It began without a sound. A flicker in the outer system sensors. An object that did not belong. It moved without a drive plume. It bled heat into the void strangely. We sent our fastest scout ship to see. We expected a rogue asteroid or dead comet. Maybe we secretly hoped for a discovery. We were always hoping, even when we stopped trying. The scout ship gave us one transmission. It was a single, high-resolution image. Then its signal vanished completely. We were not prepared for what we saw. The vessel appeared from the void. It was a shape that hurt the eyes, all sharp angles and impossible geometry. It looked less like a ship, more like a weapon. We hailed it on every known frequency. We sent messages of peace and greeting. We sent the universal language of mathematics. The only reply was silence. A cold, deliberate, and absolute silence. It did not come in peace. It moved toward the orbital defense grid near Saturn. Its intention was suddenly and horribly clear. We scrambled the 3rd and 5th fleets, our finest ships, our proudest creations. They were sleek vessels of war and exploration. They met the intruder near the rings of Saturn. Our admiral transmitted a final warning. He demanded the intruder identify itself. The enemy ship did not respond. Instead, it blossomed. Spines of dark metal extended from its hull. A wave of energy, silent and invisible, washed out. Our greatest fleets became dust. We watched from screens on Earth and Mars. We saw hundreds of friendly signals blink out at once. No explosions, no light show. They just ceased to exist. The invaders showed us their power. It was the power to unmake things. And in that moment, they gave us a gift. A terrible, unifying gift. The gift of fear. Our entire civilization held its breath. The enemy ship continued its slow, methodical advance. It destroyed the Jupiter defense platforms. It swatted mining colonies aside like insects. Panic gripped the inner worlds. We were a species staring at its own extinction. We had nothing left to throw at it. It was then, at our darkest hour, that something answered. Not our panicked prayers, not our desperate hails. Something ancient and deep and patient. A voice in the dark, a signal erupted from the red dust of Mars. It came from a place we thought was barren. It was a tight beam aimed directly at Earth. An ancient signal awakened on Mars. It spoke of a forgotten war. The signal was complex, impossibly dense. It was not a language of words or numbers. It was a torrent of raw information. Data that resonated with something deep inside us. Something buried in our very code of life. We realized it was not a message for us. It was a message from us. A memory preserved in dormant genes. Awakened by the presence of our oldest enemy. We saw it all in a flash of understanding. A sprawling star-born empire. A humanity that ruled 1,000 suns. A foe that consumed entire galaxies. The signal was a memory from our ancestors. They had fought this foe before. They had lost. We said, because we remember, the memory was our inheritance. A brutal, desperate final message from the past. It showed us where they made their last stand. It showed us how they hid their knowledge. They buried their secrets for a future generation. They buried them for us. The progenitor's arsenal. We found their hidden weapon caches. They were not on distant worlds. They were buried deep within our own worlds, under the ice of Europa, within the metallic core of Mercury, beneath the bedrock of our own home world. For millennia, we had walked over the keys to our survival. We never even knew they were there. We dug with a newfound desperation. We unearthed things that defied our understanding of physics. The first cache we opened was on Luna. The dust of 1 billion years settled around us. We found a hangar filled with fighter craft. They were shaped like folded paper, all sharp creases. There was no sign of a cockpit or controls. They were extensions of the pilot's own will. Our factories worked day and night. We stopped building our clumsy battleships. We started replicating the progenitor designs. It was like giving a blacksmith a fusion reactor. Our engineers almost went mad with joy. Some of them cried seeing the blueprints. They were elegant, deadly, and perfect. We built ships from impossible designs. Our entire species had a single purpose now: forging the new fleet, to fight a war 1 million years old. The enemy continued its inexorable push. They had sent scout fleets ahead of their main force, small groups of the angular, silent ships. They were mapping our defenses, probing for weaknesses. We knew we needed to test our new strength. We needed to know if this ancient legacy was enough. We chose a single ship for the task, a destroyer-class vessel we named the Echo. It was crewed by our best and bravest. Its mission was simple and suicidal: engage an enemy scout fleet near Jupiter, the ghost of Jupiter. We watched from a safe distance. Our hearts pounded in our chests. All of humanity's hope rode with that one ship. The Echo dropped out of faster-than-light travel. It appeared in the path of 5 enemy scouts. The enemy ships turned to engage it. They likely expected another easy kill. Our old ships would have been vaporized instantly. But the Echo was different. It moved with an unnatural grace. It dodged beams of coherent gravity. It sidestepped weapons that should have erased it. The pilot, a young woman named Eva, was one with her ship. We heard her calm voice over the comms. "All right, let's show them what real ghosts can do." A single destroyer faced their scout fleet. It was a test of everything we were, and everything we had once been. The Echo unleashed its weapons. They were not lasers or plasma bolts. They were lances of pure, focused space-time. They did not explode on impact. They simply erased whatever they touched. The first enemy scout vanished in a flicker. Its forward half just ceased to be. The other 4 ships scattered. They seemed confused, even panicked. It was the first sign that they were not gods. The Echo moved between them like a phantom. 2 more lances of light. 2 more enemy ships gone. The remaining 2 turned to flee. The Echo did not let them escape. Its final shots were clean and perfect. The enemy scout fleet was annihilated. Silence reigned over the comms channels for a moment. Then, a roar of celebration erupted. From Earth to the Kuiper Belt, we cheered. Humanity finally had a fighting chance. It was a beautiful, terrifying glimmer of hope. Our victory was short-lived. Our single success was a candle in a hurricane. We had poked the beast. Now, the beast was coming for us. The main invasion force arrived. It tore a hole in space-time at the edge of our system. Ship after ship poured through the wound, thousands of them, tens of thousands. Their numbers were a tide of steel, a swarm of black, angular locusts ready to devour our home. From our listening posts on Neptune, it looked like the sky itself was breaking. They moved in a chillingly perfect formation, a spear aimed directly at the heart of our system, at Earth. The siege of Sol had begun. Hope is a fragile thing. Seeing that Armada almost broke it. We had our new ships, a few dozen of them. They had a navy that could blot out the sun. But our ancestors had faced these numbers before. The memory showed us more than just weapon designs. It showed us their tactics, their strategy. It was a plan born of desperation, a strategy that required perfect timing. It required sacrificing entire worlds as bait. It required a level of coordination we had never attempted. The Elder Ones, as we now called them, had one last move to teach us. We used our ancestors' own strategy. It was a plan we called the Elder One's Gambit. The plan was terrifyingly simple. We would not meet them in open battle. That was a fight we could not win. Instead, we used our system against them. Our new fleet was small but incredibly fast. They could make short, precise, faster-than-light jumps. The enemy, for all their power, could not. We began a campaign of lightning strikes. A squadron would appear behind their lines. They would destroy a command ship, then vanish. Another would jump to their flank, take out fuel ships, and disappear. Our ships moved in perfect synchrony. We turned the entire solar system into a minefield. We collapsed asteroids into their path. We detonated the methane oceans of Titan in their faces. For the first time, their perfect formation faltered. The enemy armada reeled in shock. They were arrogant. They had never faced true resistance. We were like hornets stinging a bear. Each sting was minor, but they were relentless. We were a ghost fleet striking from nowhere. Their lines became chaotic. Ships broke formation to chase our phantoms. They blundered into our traps. We led them on a merry chase through the gas giants. We used Jupiter's gravity well as a slingshot. We bled them ship by ship. Their massive advantage in numbers began to mean less. But the bear was still a bear, and it was getting very, very angry. Their flagship, a vessel the size of a small moon, ignored the chaos. It pushed past the fighting. It targeted Earth directly. All our hopes rested on one final attack. This was the last stand. The flagship was a monster. It bristled with weapons that could crack continents. Our small ships threw themselves at it. Their space-time lances scored the black hull. But the shields held. The flagship ignored our fleet. Its main weapon began to glow. A terrible, hungry light grew at its core. It was preparing to sterilize our planet, to end the story of humanity for good. Eva, in her destroyer Echo, saw an opening. A flaw in the shield generator revealed for a split second. A flaw detailed in the progenitor's memory. "All ships," she broadcast to the fleet. "Focus fire on my mark, now or never." Every ship we had left fired at once. A single coordinated volley of impossible energy. It was aimed at one tiny point on a mountain of a ship. For a moment, nothing happened. The energy seemed to be absorbed by the shield. The light from the enemy's main weapon grew brighter. We thought we had failed. Then, a flicker. A crackle of energy on the flagship's hull. The shield sputtered and died. Our combined volley struck the unarmored ship. It did not just pierce the hull. It went straight to the ship's power core. A silent, catastrophic overload began. The flagship shattered under our fire. It came apart in a bloom of white-hot energy. The shockwave of its death threw our ships tumbling. The light of its end was brighter than our sun. It was the most beautiful thing we had ever seen. The remnants of their fleet, their command gone, faltered. Then they broke. They turned and fled back into the void. These were the echoes of victory. We did not cheer this time. We were too tired, too battered. We had lost so many. But we had won. We had survived. We drifted in the silent space around our home world. We watched the last of the enemy ships vanish. We had faced the darkness and held our ground. We were no longer the frightened children of Sol. We were the inheritors of an ancient legacy. We claimed our place among the stars, not as explorers, but as guardians. The memory of the Elder Ones was now our memory. Their fight was now our fight. We would rebuild, we would grow stronger, and we would watch the darkness. We would never be silent victims again. We were humanity, the watchers of tomorrow.